What's going on, family? How is everybody doing today? You know what we got to talk about. You know what we got to talk about. What y'all were hitting me about today, Byron Allen. But before we get to that, on the Breakfast Club, before we get to that, please hit that like button. Like when you come in, just hit it. When you arrive, just hit the like button. Costs you nothing. You can go subscribe to brown.com. Costs you nothing. Just gives me your email address. I would appreciate it. If you want to donate, as always, you can go to donatebrown.com, patreon.com/ycarnell. You can do all of that good stuff. Also, please hit the bell. If you have not hit the bell, please hit the bell so that you get notifications. Those who are here probably already did, but just hit that bell for me. I would appreciate it. And share. You got to get this around. So we got to share. We got to talk about it. We got to have a conversation about it. So I'm going to get to the Byron Allen, but I want to get to something else first, because we have to talk about the reparations grift and how the reparations, how everybody, they're teaming up kind of with corporations to try to do some stuff, even though we're the ones who get accused of a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff we got to talk about, but I want to put this up first because we got to get through this first. And when we get through that, we'll have the conversation. So I saw this turn up. Let me bring it up for you. I saw this turn up today. Somebody sent it to me, and I was kind of surprised, to tell you the truth. Although I'm at a point in my life where I don't think I should be surprised by anything. If you cannot read this, this says the ACLU and Ben and Jerry's and Incope, and a lot of people are getting involved. The corporations are getting involved with other people to do reparations work. Now, this is happening in, this is happening in, I believe that's South Carolina. So, yes, South Carolina. And they're going to have this ACLU, National African American Reparations Commission, and ACLU to host a series of forums focused on reparations. Now, wait a minute. That's very interesting. Very, 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 very interesting. Now, for those of you who are wondering, because if you're in the area, I would hope that you would get together and show up and show out. And I mean, keep your hands to yourself. But we need to have a conversation about what I'm about to have a conversation about. So if you're going, I'm going to give you the exact points that you need to bring up while you're there. But let's just, before we go all that further, let's just reintroduce ourselves. Now, some people may not have been here. This is one of the groups that's going to be there. This is the National African American Reparations Commission. Now, I want you to pay close attention to one thing very specifically. As we move forward, please look at the number of followers on this page. Now, I want to tell you the truth. Before Facebook died, I was not using Twitter, and now I have 20,000 plus followers. In order to have joined in 2017, and that was only like 2017, 18 when I started. In order to have 671 followers, that means you are not doing very much at all. You are not putting any work in. You are not galvanizing, not on social media, not off social media. Let's just do a little bit of work so we can remind ourselves of who these folk are. You see the same thing with Encobra. Although Encobra joined Twitter to fight us, they didn't join Twitter to fight for reparations. They joined to fight ADOS and take ownership of something that they thought was theirs. They didn't join in order to be a part of a collective movement. They didn't join in order to get reparations. They didn't join for us. They joined because they said, "Oh my goodness, they done got this thing to take off. People talking about it. We got to get in here because there's a check in here somewhere. I know it." So these are the people. Let's just look at who's there. Look at who's going to be at this event. As we have reminded you of who Cobra is and who all these people are, now that we have kind of reminded everyone of that, let's look at who's going to be there. Dr. Ron Daniels, convener, National African American Reparations Commission. That's the little narc one that we just saw. Right? That's these folks. With the 671 followers that nobody had heard of. That's who that is. So then we go down the line, Black Psychiatrists of America, and then Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Movement for Black Lives Reparations. Then go down to the bottom. National Co-Chairperson, National Coalition for Reparations for African Americans in Cobra. So everybody is represented here except for ADOS. Then you have Let's go down. It gets so curious. Then you have the Nkechi Taifa, who we're going to remind you of who she is as we go forward. And I don't know, I don't know who the hip hop artist is, but I don't recall getting an invite to any of this. And Antonio, I don't think he does either. So understand what we're looking at. I want you to understand before we go forward, just what we're looking at. We're looking at something very specific. There's a group of people who, you know, and rest in peace Kanye, because he did a lot for resubmitting the reparations bill. He did a lot for MLK Day. So rest in peace to him. But in terms of these groups, what you have is a lot of groups that were just kind of moving around and not really doing. If you're a member of if you go and you hadn't had just the idea of not having a Twitter account during the age of social media lets us know that you weren't really trying to reach out to folk. You weren't really doing anything on it. If you ask most ADOS people, they say, who? In Coba, who? In Crump, what? Who that is? Nobody knew. And for me, it's kind of problematic for a number of reasons. The first reason is, if you know you didn't build it, then when somebody shows up to kind of say, oh, we're going to help you build this thing, like you carved out this space, say, wait a minute, I really didn't. There was another group that did. So when we talk about, I'm going to get right to it. When we talk about, go back, Taifa, remember, I just want you to recollect that she was the person in this article, in this Darity article, talking about how reparations should go to all black people. Just a reminder of what was said by Darity and others. Darity has long advocated that reparations should be given to people who prove they descended from a person enslaved in the United States. Increasingly possible, he notes, because of online ancestry databases, and show that they have identified as black in public documents for at least 10 years. A program with such parameters would exclude a number of black Americans whose ancestors are from elsewhere, Jamaica, Haiti, the Bahamas. And as we've talked about before, you know, we would like to grandfather that in as well. Like we would have to have an extra knot in there. But I just bring this up for the reason to show you what the person who is going to be at the reparations Ben and Jerry's town hall or whatever it is, what she doing. She said this. She said it's extremely difficult to separate classes of black people. It's actually not. It's not extremely difficult. That's what Taifa says. It's not extremely difficult to separate black people based on lineage. It's easy to figure out where you came from, whether you came from here or whether your parents immigrated or you immigrated from somewhere else. Your grandparents, that's easy. That's easy work, considering there were nearly none before 1965, and then like we had them skyrocket during the Reagan administration after 1980. This is not hard work. So first of all, you're wrong on that first thing, right? The idea that unless you can actually trace your family directly to a slave, that you haven't been subject to the legacy of slavery is hogwash. Well, see, and I want to explain this since she's going to be at this thing, at this Ben and Jerry's reparations thing, where they're kind of the grifters and the co-opters are getting together and they having a ball. I want to explain to you that, like, what she's saying is that she's anti-reparations. She's telling you, I'm not a reparations advocate. I'm a global advocacy for all black people advocate. That's not the same thing. See, in order to understand why it's not the same thing, you have to understand how we have navigated this space. We have navigated this space based on data, right? The data has proved something very specific that none of these people ever tried to prove or put in the work to prove or thought they could prove or cared about. They just said, well, black people deserve it. That's kind of a black people who. You have to carve out who is the who. You have to carve out what is the harm. You didn't do any of the work. So do you think, I think I understand why white America, the ACLU and everybody else is calling you to have this conversation, because they know once you get in this conversation, you ain't gonna be able to stay in this conversation because you didn't create this conversation. It's gonna be it's a master stroke how they convinced you and brought you in here, because it's necessary to bring somebody in here who can't do the job and is just happy to be in the room, and that's you, because you're finally getting some attention. I understand that, but for her to say what she just said, makes her an anti-reparations advocate. Just say I'm an advocate for the global reparations or the global liberation of all people. Just say that, because that's what you are. Because this is how you have to understand how reparations became part of the conversation. We not only use data, we use data to paint a very specific picture. The picture had to do with timing, right? How wealth was built during a time when we were locked out as slaves and re-enslavement. That's the time we were used to build wealth. It's kind of like what Byron said today. We were built here to build wealth for other people, but not sharing the wealth. Same thing. And we told him that there's no way, what we said during the data is there's no way to recreate that moment. Timing is everything. Boom. And we use Microsoft, and we use the tech wizards who came. They came from a specific group, a specific timing. We made that case. We made the case for urgency. Black wealth going to zero. We did that. We made the case. We talked about how this was a guild days. We used a lot of Thomas Piketty's information. Made the case. We talked about exclusion, because it's not a serious. Understand something. If nobody is talking about who gets included and excluded, it's not a serious claim. You're not a serious person if you don't talk about, if you don't have a conversation about, and then decide what is the criteria for inclusion and exclusion. You can't say all black people. That's like going to court and a specific bus 94, hit you while you was walking down Main Street. You don't go into court and they say, well, who's the victim? You say, well, everybody that was walking down Main Street, they have to walk to work. They all is victims. Because they all have could get hit and have probably gotten somewhat hit and have probably gotten mud on them or something. It's just, we're going to have everybody, Judge, and you just going to have to prove that, or you can't prove nothing. In that sense, you really begin to understand that this global reparations in America is an unserious argument. Now, you can understand what we've always said is that everybody has a specific justice claim, and I support everybody. I support Haiti with France. I support what they're doing, what the Caribbean countries are doing, CARICOM. I support all of that. But I understand that we all have different claims, and we can all support each other in our claims, but you can't just say black people, because then, you know, white America already doesn't support it, and we understand why, but they're just going to laugh in your face because they might not support reparations because of who they are. But when you say that, you just kind of reveal that they ain't got nothing to worry about, because you don't even know how to carve out a case. And so what we have to kind of understand is what we did to get here. Because I think I know, and we have to understand who we're up against. And people say, well, Yvette, why can't you work? You know, I remember hearing this. Well, they're going to be there. Do you just want to be there with them? No, because after we decide on a date for our conference, and then they decided that they would do a conference on the same day, but it was going to be virtual. I ain't never heard of a virtual conference like that. I ain't never heard. Either you do it or you don't. But you decided that you were going to oppose us and do little backbiting, nail biting, poodle grab your ankle stuff at us. And that's a problem. Those are people that you cannot work with. Those are the crabs in the barrel. They see you, hey, they finally getting something. They look like they might be getting something for all ADOS people. We did it kind of wrong. I guess we just got to support. No, you just going to grab me back down to the bottom and just try to do your own thing. It obviously didn't work out well, but I knew it wouldn't. But that's a problem for me. That's a problem for me that you have tried to kind of co-opt the energy that you didn't build. And so when I see this whole little Ben and Jerry's thing that you're doing, and when I understand that, you know, Ben and Jerry's is going to support HR 40, and they don't support everything from Black Lives Matter to the Spotted Owls to whatever they do, because that's what you do now. You become a good corporate citizen, and you put that out there, and people decide they want to. Ain't nothing wrong with eating your ice cream. I'm gonna eat this ice cream, and it's gonna be a protest. I'm gonna eat this ice cream and give ADOS reparations. But what it really is, from what I see, especially who's in the room. See, you don't have me or Antonio in the room who can say, listen, okay, Ben and Jerry, you want to support reparations, here's what you do. You have them there who are just happy to be there, and they can't even have the real conversation. See, when you come in contact with somebody like that, you got to be able to have the conversation and craft out exactly why. Boom, 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 boom. Well, when you built it, it's already stored. It's already right there. I don't got to do nothing. It's already right here. I don't have anything I got to figure out. It's already in my mind. Let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation. You want to have a conversation? We can do that right now. I got the whole thing right here. You don't have it. You're gonna get in there and talking about love and let's have it. And you're not the reason that this happened. All this stuff I'm listing out is all of the stuff that I'm ticking off bit by bit is how we got here. There's a reason why all of this energy around reparations, in terms of the polling of ADOS, African Americans has increased. It used to be way down. Is because we have made a case that makes sense, and we have made a case that expresses the urgency. We did it, and then the ADOS community went out and did it, and it got to moving, and you don't get to then come back and say that belongs to me. You don't get to come back and say what she says right here. Hold on one second. You don't get to come and say this. This is what she says, what she said in the Washington Post and during that article. When we were doing this work decades ago, we knew we were planting seeds, she said. I never imagined I'd be able to sit under the shade of the trees from the seeds that I was planting. These are not your seeds, ma'am. Your seeds dried up and died. Your seeds dried up and died. They were very dead seeds. Because your seeds didn't have what it took to kind of withstand the soil. Your seeds didn't have that. Our seeds did. And if you want to say, well, Yvette, how do you know that? Well, how come we started 2016, late 2016, early 2017, really making this advocacy, right? And so lo and behold, now everybody's talking about reparations. Why did everything come when we started talking? If it's not us, you all say you've been doing this 30 years. Why hasn't it been part of this has been a central issue of the Democratic Party in terms of the presidential candidates have had to talk about it. If you've been doing it for 30 years, where has your advocacy been? How come that has not been a central issue? How come you didn't move the polling? We have to understand what we've created. If you don't understand that we created as ADOS, if you don't understand that it's easy for them to steal it from us, you have to understand it. And even how we did it later on. That was the initial thing when I talk about how we did it. Later on, we used Kamala to make it through. Like, we're not saying that she's not black, but we're saying she's not ADOS and what ADOS means and what we're requiring in terms of a black agenda, in terms of reparations. That's how we did it. That's how we built from here to there, right? You didn't build this. This is not your seed. Stop like taking my seed and trying to run off with it. Like, ADOS is in the chat. This is ADOS seed. Like, and if you were going to help with that seed, you wouldn't have put together a conference on the same day. You know better than that right-wing group that did the same thing. They had a conference on the same day, on the same weekend. Why? For what? So the only reason I really kind of wanted to bring this up was to kind of paint the picture of what we're seeing in terms of who's showing up to this. And I don't know when. I've seen the ACLU do stuff on police brutality and criminalization. I've never seen them do anything on reparations. So I don't even know what they're doing. I don't know who they talk to. I don't know how they stepped their pinky toe into this. I don't know what happened. Right? But I know how we got here. I know we got here by talking about generational wealth. I know we got here by saying, by carving out the case that you can't do it with labor anymore. Like, labor's not how you get to where you need to get anymore. You can't just have a life. And so when people saw like those numbers and that data and realized, yeah, America, as a country, America has an engine, and that engine runs off of ADOS failure. It's not just because, white America doesn't understand or whatever the case may be. This economy that we have still needs that, right? That's where we are. And people are enriched because of that. And the wealth from slavery is still in the economy, and the poverty is too. This is how we made the case. So I don't even know how Cobra or NARC can come here and say, no, we're going to come and have a conversation about it. You didn't create the conversation. You can't partake in the conversation that you didn't create. This is very different than what you have tried to put forth. This is their platform. When you go to NARC, you click on something, they talk about global, like I said, global reparations. That's idiocy. There's no global claim against whiteness. There's a specific claim against specific countries. And I've said that, but I want to say it again. I want everybody to understand, just in case we're unclear. I want you to understand what we have all done in this space and what we cannot be robbed of in this space. Because people will rob you. People will rob you every day. We can't build wealth through work. We can't do none of that. And that's the case that we've made. We made the case about social engineering. How black celebrities oftentimes convince the rest of us that we have wealth, or we can have wealth, or we got to do X, Y, and Z and do that. That's what they do. We had a whole few years, 2-3 years conversation about this. And that's how we built it. That's how we built this conversation. The people who are out, the ADOS who go out and film like JB and others, they're informed people. They're not just people out with horns. They're very informed about what they're doing. They have the data. We have people passing out Sandy Darity and Antonio Moore's report on the myths of closing the racial wealth gap. We have the most informed group. I think this may be one of the most informed group, if not, this is the most informed ADOS group in American history. I mean, in modern history. Like in the modern history, like I don't know other group that's been more informed. Y'all inform me a lot of times. You send me something, you send me a new study in the inbox. So what I'm saying is, understand what we have all created and what they're trying to steal. You had 30 years to do it, and you didn't do it. Like, why not just say, well, you know what? What these people are doing is moving stuff, is moving the energy, it's moving the momentum, it's creating some energy. I'm going to support them. See, this is why people have such a problem. People say, why you got such a problem with boomers? I don't have a problem with y'all, but why you just won't, when you realize that you're wrong, why you don't just back down and say, you know what, you got it. Why you can't play support? Because I don't understand why you can't play support when you obviously couldn't play the lead role. You're not starting material. If you could have been, you had 30 years to do it. So that's all I want to say about that. I just want to make sure we understand. And so we're clear, for those of you who are going to be in South Carolina, it's Saturday, November the 2nd, 2019. That's this year. 1 to 4. That's quick. 3 hours. And let me see if there's any more information on here. Hold on a second. This is the WHO. Let me see if there's any. But I put some more stuff up on my on Twitter. So if you're looking for something else on Twitter, there's a lot to say about it. So if you are in the vicinity, please stop by. Make yourselves known. Bring all your data, because the corporations are going to get together with the black reparations grifters and have a conversation, and we'll be having this conversation for another 100 years while our people starve. We'll be starved out. Understand that. So you got to show up. Now I want to go to what I want to have a conversation. 2 conversations tonight. Not long. I know y'all be getting sleepy in here. So not long. But I want to have another conversation because it's necessary. It is necessary. Where's my clip? Anyway. Byron Allen was on the Breakfast Club this morning. I saw it. Was it the one I saw? I saw it today. Did y'all see that? Anyway. Let me get this out of my face like this. Like right there. Okay. There we go. So, Byron Allen was on the Breakfast Club. And let me just start by saying this. Everybody be like, Yvette, you're a mean and hateful wench. Oh, hush. Talk to your mama with that mouth. I'm happy he was there. First and foremost, I'm happy he was there. I mean, it took a lot. I don't understand how a man with that much money is using a Reconstruction era law, a slave law, a civil rights law, and it takes that much to get him there over Lil Uzi or the baby or whoever. I don't know why it took so long. I don't know what everybody's on. I don't know what everybody's doing. I don't understand. But what I will say is good for having him on. You should have. And good for letting him talk. Because it's so much better. He talked a lot more than you. Now listen, me and Byron, everybody's not going to agree 100% on everything. But I'm going to ask you this question. What about your civil rights? And I think Byron dropped some jewels in that. Honestly, if you want to talk about what was in there, And what was not in there, nobody agrees 100% with anybody. But what he talked about, listen, you got to have the lawyers. People don't really try to play with people who can afford good lawyers. When he talked about, what else he said about the D's? What did he say, the 4 D's? Y'all heard him. Y'all was watching. It was some gems dropped in there about social capital. When he talked about having, the white man who had relationships with, what's the little show? Wheel of Fortune and all that stuff and getting that done. How he connected him. Don't we talk all the time about how you need social capital? Don't we talk about that all the time and the people weren't calling him back and this man who had some power was able to connect him? Don't we talk about that all the time, the power of social capital in this country? Do we not? So let me see. Oh, here were the 4 D's. I couldn't find the 4 D's. I don't want to get the 4 D's wrong. Dismiss, discredit, demonize, and destroy. That's how white America take care of you. It's how I get you out of here. And that's true. Dismiss, discredit, demonize, and destroy. I don't know which one we on. I think we still on discredit. What y'all think? I think ADOS is still on discredit. But when he talked about the 4 D's, somebody should have screamed hallelujah. But I think the thing that's most important, and the thing that Charlemagne, and kudos, like I said, for having him on, but the thing that Charlemagne and nobody else could do was focus. And that's the most important thing to do in this moment. Why do I say that? I was kind of embarrassed because it was kind of cringeworthy, right? Like hearing them saying, yeah, but what's the plug? Where the money is? You got your money from somebody. Where did the loan come from? Come on, Byron, hook us up. And what they were saying, which was so bothersome to me, they were saying hook us up individually because we all looking for a plug. What Byron was talking about in terms of going to court is that this is how we all get hooked up collectively. So I'm bothered because you're talking about your plug and what's the plug and who you talk to and where you get your loan, where you get your money, Byron, where you get your... And he's talking about we need this law. We're going to be locked out. We're going to be, this is why we're brought here. We're not brought here to build wealth. Well, what's your plug? What they don't understand is that there are not enough of those plugs to go around right now. What you need is policy. The policy is the plug. How did you miss that? How did you not know that? The reason he's out there talking about the Civil Rights Act 1866 is because the policy is the plug. He's telling you what his advantages were and what your disadvantages are. He's telling you what he had in terms of a mother, and you have to have her. If the mother don't survive and succeed, then you don't have you. Most of the time, the child follows. And he's telling you what he had to do and what his advantages were. But he had a mother who went to college. He's telling you that his dad, before his dad left, worked at a Ford Motor Company. He's telling you advantage versus disadvantage. And you asking him about a plug. Come on. But in the strangest moments, right? People kind of reveal themselves. People just reveal themselves. Yeah, I want the plug. I'm trying to figure out this thing for me. I'm not trying to figure it out for everybody else. I'm trying to figure it out for me. Right? In terms of what we do, like when you hear Byron talk, you understand that our studies and data kind of inform where he was coming from. I want to see anybody in the chat pick out something very specific, because I picked out something very specific, but I want to see if anybody picked out what I picked out. But let me just say this. The plug is the policy. We were brought here to create wealth and die. That's it. We were not brought here to thrive. We were not brought here to share in the milk and honey. And that is going to be a fight. So then at the end of the interview, you hear them say, well, Byron, what can we do? What can we do? And it's just kind of like, the way they said it was like, let's say I had some pork link sausages that I was trying to get in the store. And the store was telling me, well, you can't get the link sausages in this store. You got them in every other store, but we don't want your link sausages here at the Piggly Wiggly. But you had them in Kroger, you had them in Publix, but you was like, the Piggly Wiggly acting up. And he'd be like, what I'm gonna do? What can we help you to get to the Piggly Wiggly? And the Piggly Wiggly wasn't no race-based thing. He just, you came in and you had on yellow shoes and he don't like yellow shoes. You said, I changed my yellow shoes, and he just still be acting up. And he's like, what do you want to do to get you into the Piggly Wiggly? As a person, not a Civil Rights Act, just as him as a human, not with the Civil Rights Act of 1866. Then you could say, yeah, well, we're going to help you get the Piggly Wiggly. And it was the one. It's the one on Broad, or it's the one on 51st and Crumb Snatcher? Which one is it? We're going to go over there. You should know what to do when somebody tells you that the Civil Rights Act of 1866 would set the tangent for us to be included in wealth, which set the trajectory and made really a promise that this group is going to be included, economically included in America. You should know what to do when that is at stake. You should know no matter who you are, but especially if you are in radio and this man has made his money doing TV and broadcasting and all of that. Network shows, all of that. You should know what's at stake for yourself. I don't understand how we don't understand. Like, this is not a rapper that you're interviewing. Thank you for having him there, but he's not a rapper. You don't ask him like when your album dropped. That's how you said that. Well, when it dropped, when can we download it? This is not Meg the Stallion. This is not Uzi Vert. This is not none of this. This is a different conversation, and how you end has to be different. Your call to action has to be different, and you cannot sit on the fence and say, "Well, I was just an interviewer. I'm just interviewing." No. You are a person in the exact business of media that he's in. Your life is at stake too. And not only that, the Chamber of Commerce supported Comcast, and they said, and they did their own brief, and they did that for a reason. See, we think this is only about ownership. Ownership is a part of what's happening here. It's not the whole story. The whole story is none of these businesses want anybody to be able to sue for discrimination, period. Get out of here with that. We're sick of that. We don't want nobody to be able to come in here and say, so-and-so fired me because I'm black, or so-and-so didn't promote me because I'm black, or so-and-so didn't, my manager ran me out of here. He made me so miserable I had to quit because I'm black. No, because when you change that standard, like that but-for standard, when you change that standard to where it has to be 100% because of race, which is unprovable. So it means there's no standard. Nobody can prove unless we got a bunch of emails of you saying monkey. You a monkey. Unless we got them emails, then there's no way to prove that standard, which means you don't sue because you can't prove it, which means that they can not only lock you out, wait for it. They can not only just lock you out of media, they can not only just lock you out of ownership, they can lock you out of employment. Wait for it. You can't sue no more, because you can't sue. If you have a racist employer, then good luck with your life, if this goes through. And then the second part about it is this. And let me just, the silliness. The silliness of at one point in the interview, Charlemagne said, I'm just gonna play white man devil's advocate. The hell? Who plays white man devil advocate? Well, just I'm just gonna. Why don't you drop the lawsuit? Wait a minute. Did you hear what he said? Please understand that the Supreme Court said, well, the Ninth Circuit ruled on this right here, but we want to talk about this other thing, which is the Civil Rights Act. of 1866. So bring that here. Bring that to me. Bring that to me. Yeah. Bring that close. What you're looking at is, to me, just giving you my own analysis, is they wanna gut it. And you don't like, it's true what Byron Allen said, like you don't withdraw and say, for somebody who said they're gonna have a conversation. But they're aiming to, everybody's aiming to gut us as a community. Just understand that. So they're aiming to snap us, right? They're aiming to snap us. But Byron Allen is a billionaire. So he can actually go to court with good attorneys and have a shot. He can actually give us a chance at winning, because he can pay the attorneys, pay the people to do what they need to do, and, you know, put forth the best case that we can put forth. He can put forth that case and then win that case, got those attorneys, and then we can use the law. Now understand something. If he draws a case and just say, you know what, I'm just going to take my money and run. I'm just going to take what money I got and I'm just going to run off. You have to understand what happens next, because nobody has the money to do what he's doing and fight this case and fight Comcast. Nobody else has the money to take on Comcast. So what happens is this will come up again, right? And nobody has the money to fight it. That opens the doors to discrimination, because you don't have anybody else. We don't have no other billionaires who are going to do this. Where Oprah at? Don't worry, I'll wait. Where's in Cobra? Don't worry, I'll wait. Where's Narc? Don't worry, I'll wait. I'll wait. All these other people, where are they? There should be a coalition of people paying for these attorneys' fees right now. Not just Byron Allen as a person, because this law doesn't benefit just him. It benefits the whole community. Where's everybody else? All these billionaires y'all love so much. Where's Jay-Z? Y'all love him, right? Where's he at in this? He says he's going to make some music and do a shoe or some bull crap for the NFL and read off. Okay, where's everybody at? So understand this. If you put it in numbers, there are 20 million black families. Only 340,000 are worth more than 1.2 million. There might be a few hundred black families in all of America that can bring this case. And I'm going to tell you something. The ones who can bring this case won't. You know what they're going to say? I got mine, you get yours. I ain't going to bring this case. I'm not going to pay an attorney all this kind of money for what? To help you, protect you? No, I'm not going to get mad that somebody screwed the HBCU channel that could have brought money to HBCUs. I'm not going to do that. Byron's doing that. Sometimes with laws and different things, there's a lot of things in life that you only get one shot. And the person that's bringing that shot got to be the right person. They got to have the right stuff. They got to have the monies too. This is America. If he drops this case, it's over for the 1866. It's over. And it's over for him anyway in terms of doing that. He'll keep the money, run off with the money. He on the Weather Channel. He'll be fine with that. But ain't anybody gonna tell you we don't negotiate with terrorists. They ain't bothering with you no more. You gonna fight, or what you gonna do? You gonna barbecue a mildew. Everybody on that stage with a mildew. Everybody who interviewed Byron with a mildew. They just interested in their own bag. What's the plug? What Byron, who'd you go to? That man, what's his you got his name? I'm gonna write it down. I'm wait a minute, give me a pencil. Right quick, I'm trying to get the plug. What's the plug? If the main problem that we're seeing right now is that we have a group of people, forget what they know and what they don't know. People are not interested, it seems to me, in collective uplift. That's a problem. Because wealth is a community property. And so let me just go to, let me finish this first, because I want to go to something else. You know, I specifically, of course, you would think this. Enjoyed the part of the show where Byron Allen just kind of, the Breakfast Club and all the Negroes seem to just be in love with Obama. Oh, Obama, Trump's so awful. We just wish we have Obama. No, Obama could have done a lot of stuff. He didn't do it. And Byron Allen put that on Front Street. He said, listen, I went to Obama and I said, audit the banks. Once you show that the banks are not giving a bunch of money, are not making loans to black people. And he said, I'm not talking about minority groups. I'm saying black people specifically. He said that. He said, once you see that, then we can force them into giving capital to black people that's not predatory. That's what I said. That's what I said, the point that he made that I want to go to. That I said, sounds familiar. What he did during that period, though, was try to get an infusion of capital. Right? An infusion of capital to black people, especially black entrepreneurs. When he said, the government managed government pensions, and there are no black people who manage those pensions, and we could use that and find a way to give. See, they'll be managing them, and they'll be managing that money through black entrepreneurs. These are things that Obama could have done himself. He didn't need Congress. So one of the lies that needs to die is the first one is, well, no black people really supported, didn't give him no money. No, Byron did, and he didn't care. Obama didn't care. So Obama don't get to tell me nothing. I'll tell Obama that to his face. Who are you? You are a loser. That's who you were. That's who you are. That's who you always will be. I don't care how long you sit in the White House. You are a loser. But let me just say this. What he shows is that everybody who said Obama couldn't do anything because the Republicans kept him from doing anything doesn't know anything about politics. These are unilateral things that Obama could have done, actions that Obama could have taken on behalf of black people. He chose not to. He chose not to do it. He's a weak man. He chose not to do that. And that's what that part. So you have to have the inside information to know, okay, Obama had a lot of opportunity to do something for us. He just chose not to. Have to know what that means. But Obama chose DACA, though. He chose to do DACA. Really an expansion of executive power. He chose to do that. He didn't choose to help us. And you walk around, and some of us walk around still saying, oh, man, I wish Obama was still in there. Why? You can definitely say, I wish Trump wasn't president. But don't say you want to replace him with Obama. Say, I wish we had a different candidate. And I'll be happy when it's time to vote and find somebody new and do something different. But don't say you want to put Obama in there. Because if you want to put Obama in there, you don't really understand what that means. You don't even really understand who he is. You don't understand his legacy. Speaking of the Obamas, because it's a great place to end, you understand. Antonio's talked to Byron for long periods. I've spoken to him, but Antonio's spoken to him for a lot of hours. Right? But advocacy isn't just, I don't know if we understand that advocacy isn't just showing up somewhere and doing something. It's a lot of the work and everything that you do goes like unseen. And you have to be okay with that. You can't just want to run and talk to Ben and Jerry's because somebody invited you to a thing. You can't want to just run and talk to nobody. You can't have that level of ego. You just want to be seen. You want to be on TV. You want to be here. Oh, I want to be here. I want to be there. I want to be everywhere. You have to kind of understand advocacy and what you have to do in this space. And I just want to end on a very specific note. Not on Ben and Jerry's, but I thought this was interesting that they support everything and doesn't change. But what was it? It was Michelle Obama said something. Let me just bring this up big and juxtapose that to what we're doing. All right. This is Michelle Obama. I can't make people not afraid of black people. I don't know what's going on. I can't explain what's happening in your head. But maybe if I show up every day as a human, just maybe that work will pick away at the scabs of your discrimination. Let me tell you something. I don't know. I used to think Michelle came from Chicago. Now I don't know who she is or where she's from. I don't know. I don't know nothing. Because, and I said this on Twitter, but I want to say it again before we end. Black women have been cleaning house. The babies have been, we've been sucking at the tits of black women, little white babies. Been cleaning white houses. Black men have served in every war on American soil. If you don't know who we are, if you don't know who we are, what we represent, we shouldn't have the audacity of, like, you gotta understand, she's not speaking as a black woman. You're speaking as the former first lady. You're not saying what we need to do in terms of activism. You're not saying what we need to do in terms of fighting. You're saying work hard. You're saying, you're giving the Booker T. Washington speech, and he gave that speech in, what was it, 1903? You're giving his speech in 2019, lady. You're saying cast your buckets down and rest on the goodwill of white people instead of fighting for it. You're not in office no more. You got your book deal. When can people fight? Like, when do they get the gumption to fight? You're telling me to work twice as hard. 400 years it ain't work. We were slaves. We worked twice, 3 times as hard. It ain't work. That don't work. That's not a pathway to anything. And you're saying that. Understand how ineffective it is to say that, especially considering this man was your husband. Right? Your husband was the president of the United States, and you're saying, well, I don't know how to change these people, just work harder. No, y'all should have did more, and you should still be doing more, running around doing books, having conversations. What are you doing with your life? Too much is given, much is expected, isn't it? Right? You know, and then you have Michelle on one hand saying, just work harder, child. I got my money, you figure out your life. And then you have Obama basically kind of what it seems like to me, kind of side-eyeing ADOS. Like, you know, this idea of a purity, and you're never compromising, you're politically woke and all this stuff, and you should get over it quickly. The world is messy. Now, you should shut up. Like, that's what should actually happen. You should just be quiet. Because what you have done, you should not, like, I have never met a person like Obama who I feel like you should not be happy about anything that has happened in your life. No. You are such a big part of the problem. The conversation that Coates had with you, where you said, well, what if immigrants get mad about reparations? And I don't know, you know, I just think black people want to be recognized. And I understand that. And blah, 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 blah. You're so much a problem. If you had done what Byron asked you to do, we would have banks trying to throw us money. Don't tell me, you don't get to tell me nothing. Not ever. Not ever. And I don't respect you as a man. Like, you don't ever get to tell me what to do. How do you get to sit there and tell us what to do? No, you just walked away with the bag. Everybody wants to walk away with an individual bag. You didn't do anything. You had a whole crisis. You could have reset all of that. And instead you walked in. I just want to be the referee. I'm not trying to take sides. You're not a leader if you're not trying to take sides. You're supposed to be leading the cavalry. You cowardly little man. And that's the problem with you. And so, no, I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to hear from Michelle. You all failed. And if we don't see it then, we see it now. The one thing you control before anybody ever tells you anything about what the Republicans did and how the Republicans stood, and the Republicans stood in that way. First of all, it was when Obama was elected, he had a Democratic Congress. That's first of all. But second of all, you control all your cabinets and all these agencies. You could have got to work. You didn't, because you played referee instead of playing leader. You played referee instead of getting in the game. Instead of getting in the game, you decided you wanted to be referee and make Tea Party people like you. And that is the result. We are living the result. You don't have to live the result. You got a good life right now. We are living the result of your failures. So no, don't tell us anything about why being woke isn't changing. You didn't change anything either, sir. You made a bunch of more white people millionaires, and we're still in the same position. You didn't help us. There's no transformative politics in you. You're not a transformative man. You're not a transformative person. You don't have any kind of imagination. You're not a politically relevant person. You're who they picked. And we need to learn to pick differently. That's part of the lesson in this. So, fam, give me a second. We are going to go to the phones as usual, and we will come back and we will have the conversation. Obama. Give me a break. What's going on, fam? And we are back. I'm going to go to the phones. And so let me just go into my first caller. I want to know what you say. If you watched the Byron Allen Breakfast Club, I want to know what you think. If you did not, if you you want to talk about, I would really like to hear anybody's comments about what he said about Obama. But the Breakfast Club in general, if you saw the Ben and Jerry's Reparations, ACLU, and Cobra thing, talk about that too. So let's stay on topic, family, and be concise, but let's stay on topic. I'm going I'm going to 602. 602, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hello, Yvette.
Hey.
My name's Kevin.
Hey, what's going on?
I'm from Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay, Phoenix. What's on your
mind? I don't really think we have an ADOS chapter out here. I'm trying to spread the word, though. I was planning on going to, like, Kinko's or something and printing up some information on, like, the racial wealth gap, and as well as all the other information you and Tone have shared with us.
Okay.
And, you know, just trying to let people know just how bad the situation is. Because I didn't know how bad it was until I found out about you. And I wanted to thank you for that.
You know? Oh, thank you. And Arizona's a really, people don't realize how bad a state Arizona is in terms of racial, you know. They were one of the last ones to do the King holiday. It's a lot going on. I used to live in Tempe, so I understand. But go on, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there was a pregnant woman who got held at gunpoint just recently by Phoenix PD, you know, like because her daughter or something took like a $1 Barbie doll from a dollar store or something. So that's what we're dealing with out here. But I want to try and spread the word about what you guys are doing.
Are you on Twitter? Are you on Twitter, sir?
Yes, my name's Kevin Hurt. I barely got on Twitter. Like I wasn't even on Twitter until I found out about you guys.
Okay.
And I got on there and
okay. Well, if you feel comfortable, you could shout out to Twitter, or you could put it in the chat so that people know that you're in Arizona and you're trying to either start a ADOS chapter or you're trying to get with anybody who has started one there. That's the only reason. I was asking.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. I just put it in the chat, so hopefully people see that. I saw a couple other people from Phoenix in the chat.
Okay. Well, you know, so people can get up with him if you are in Arizona, but especially Phoenix. Yeah, it's beautiful, but it feels more Ku Klux sometimes than other places, but it's absolutely gorgeous. But do you have anything else to say, Carl?
No, I'll let you go. I just wanted to let you know that we're out here, and I know you got other callers.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, we everywhere. We got you in Phoenix. And listen, fam. It's absolutely gorgeous out there. Like I live there. It's beautiful, wonderful. Whoa, it's Ku Klux, and it's very interesting because it's right there with the border. And I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to the next caller. I'm going to 513. 513. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
How you doing, Yvette? This
Pretty good.
Is Brad Gordon calling from Cincinnati, Ohio.
How are you?
ADOS all day.
Okay.
But, I just want to... Excuse me.
No, go ahead.
I just wanted to comment on the Byron Allen and the Breakfast Club.
Okay, good.
We've been going through this for so long, and to hear Charlamagne ask the question, you know, just drop the lawsuit. It's just outrageous.
Yeah.
And to be following the Breakfast Club is a bad thing for ADOS because all they're going to do is promote the white man's business, pretty much. You know, and I just think that we all just need to just sit back and just think about it for a second and realize what's really going on out here in the world. But that's pretty much all I got to say. I just think that the Breakfast Club is a bad thing to follow for us because all they're going to do is promote the white man's business, and that's not for us. And we need to go out here and start promoting for ourselves. It's like the whole Hollywood thing. We need to go out there and build our own. And if you want something out here, we gonna have to do it ourselves. And I'm give mad props to you and Tone for doing this ADOS thing and putting it out there. It's trending. It slowly, but we coming. And when we come, I feel sorry for the world.
Sound like hot butter popcorn.
But
I appreciate it, fam. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think you know, I don't think they're trained I don't know. How can you not advocate for yourself? Because you're really not advocating for him. Like, really, the thing that you want him there for, you're trying to figure out, like, how did he get the $300 million or whatever to buy the Weather Channel? That's personal. That's a personal plug, though. You're trying to get that for yourself. that's not where, I know hip hop is, you know, a certain sect of hip hop has kind of made it like dog eat dog, super individualistic, but nobody does it that way. Nobody does it that way. I mean, I've talked to Byron on the phone. Antonio has talked to him for far longer than I have, and I've never asked him, like, what's the plug? Where the plug at? What the hell is wrong with you? So, because that's not my interest. I don't want to know where the plug at. I want to know, like, what's this Reconstruction era law going? Like, how can we move it in a certain direction? I'm not trying to. What y'all trying to buy? I don't know what that means. Like, what a plug. So anyway, I'm going to 360. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Oh, hi, Yvette. My name is Lisa Gomez. Thank you for taking my call.
No problem.
Okay, so I didn't get to see the Breakfast Club interview with Byron Allen, but I will be checking that out later. I'm sorry, my son is talking to me. Hold on. I need you to be quiet, baby. So I was calling as you were talking, and what I'm seeing in the trend is that clearly we see these people who are representing or even talking, you know, we can't even say on behalf of ADOS, but just, you know, what they have out here on networks, news publications, like you had your show, I think it was on Monday, where you're talking about that article. Mm-hmm. It's like, how do we at this point start to really push for you or with Antonio as the real mouthpieces of this movement, to where to even get it to the point where it's almost like unacceptable, like on a wide, what am I trying to say? Unacceptable, really. Like, okay, everyone knows, you know, look, this person that y'all got up here, they're not talking about nothing. We need Yvette. We need Antonio to be the real mouthpiece of this movement. How do we push for that at this point? Because, you know, I love that you give the information and where we're trying to go with this, but I see that as the real issue here, is that this misinformation is being spread on this, and then you have to go back, or, you know, Antonio has to go back and give the correct information. It's like, how we get y'all out there as the
well, you know what I think. You know what I think. The first thing has to happen in order to get us out there, you got to be out there, right? And so, if you're in a space where you can ask questions, the first question is, you know, if they're talking about reparations, is kind of like, why aren't Antonio Moore and Yvette Carnell here? Like, their show has galvanized the movement around reparations. I want to understand, were they invited? Where, you know, and you can ask me beforehand, were you invited? And I'll tell you no. And then you can say, when they say, yeah, I think they were, like, no, I have an email right here from Yvette Carnell that says she wasn't. And so what are we talking about, and why are you trying to exclude them, right? And, you know, what is to gain from excluding the people who represent, like, ADOS? And are there any more ADOS people here? Did you invite the people from the local chapter? Like, if there's a local chapter, did you invite them? So you didn't invite any ADOS people here, and you have to kind of make that clear. And then once you go over to the other side, you ask them, when you start talking about policy. I've said this before, but it bears repeating. You have to ask them, okay, what's your plan to close the racial wealth gap? Because people love to talk to you about, we got to have a conversation, we got to talk, we got to give more medicine to black people. No. What is your plan for closing the racial wealth gap? And see what they say, and tell them, because they're going to tell you some stuff that doesn't make sense, and then say, no, that doesn't close the racial wealth gap. And anything that doesn't close the racial wealth gap is not a serious policy proposal for ADOS people. So I don't understand what you're doing here.
Okay.
Thank you, fam.
I'm in Olympia, Washington. You know,
Washington.
We're in Olympia, Washington. So it's, you know, we got a lot of us out here.
Yeah, but you in it. But we got a lot of us. The baby.
Baby. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't
no, it's fine. You're fine. Tell him he the baby is comedy. He's keeping us entertained. So, but
look, I'm trying to teach him young. I need him to hear this. He's only 3, but I need him to know, like, look, this is what your mama and your daddy on. But no, it's beautiful what you're doing out here, and I'm excited. I'm 31 years old, and it's like, I see now, like, it's scary out here, you know.
Yeah, so we know.
I appreciate it.
No, thank you, fam. Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, you gotta. Understand, fam. You gotta. If you want to have the right answers, you gotta ask the right questions. There's no way to get to the right answer without asking the right question. So if you get to an answer and you realize like this ain't really, I don't know, like what I need to ask these. I don't think I got the right conclusion. I was gonna say this and I was gonna say, ask a different question. And sometimes asking a different question is just asking a little bit differently. Sometimes it's not a whole remaking of the wheel. Just ask the same question a little bit differently. Just a tweak. Just tweak your questions a little bit. It's better if you write them down because then you know where to tweak them. Well, maybe I don't ask just about the as a racial wealth gap. Maybe I ask about a specific percentage or whatever. Just tweak it. Eventually you get good at it. Everything's practice. So I'm going to 973. 973. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on, Yvette?
Hey.
This is Najee. Call out of New Jersey. I ain't called in a while.
What's going on, Jersey? How you doing?
To the interview.
Okay.
And when you talked about the question, why don't he drop the case? And you talk about Envy asking, where's the plug at? I think that the origins of that comes from the fact that scarce resources in our community. And I think that most individuals, black people that made it out, that made it fairly successful, they form like this God complex where the hold up that ideology is to basically say like I'm exceptional, like I made it out, and I think that that's where that comes from. Instead of having more or less like that group thought, like when he asked the question like what do we do? So once Byron and Ivan laid out what's on the line, and you guys have this big platform, then the next step should be on your platform, find out those numbers of Congressional Black Caucus members who didn't sign on.
Yeah.
To basically fight against the gutting of this bill. One thing that I noticed also, how quickly Charlemagne and the rest of the Breakfast Club didn't really stick on that Obama indictment when he laid it out, and I think that they strayed away from that.
Yeah, they pivoted. I said,
to the Democrat.
Remember what I said, fam? Another show. I said, watch the pivot. They pivoted away from that. It was a pirouette. What you doing, ballet, when you twit like that?
Yeah, they stuck away from that because also what that did was that challenged the narrative that we never asked Obama for nothing. Yep. You know what I mean? Like so here it is. You got Byron Ivan said not only did he give him instructions and asked him, he put money behind it.
Yeah.
So that just basically throws out that argument altogether. I see that they didn't really touch on when he spoke about Al Sharpton and how these corporations kind of like grab one influential Negro and wrap their arms around him and say, listen, there is diversity. We're not racist. We are fair brokers. Look, we're in conversations with Al Sharpton. Yeah. And he basically called that nonsense out.
Yeah.
So I think that, again, like I said, I appreciate the fact that they had him on that platform. And Byron Ireland was very generous with his time. Because when they tried to rush him and say, okay, I know you got to go, he said, I'm going to get back, ask you questions. So they had enough time to probe and ask all the necessary questions and get all the necessary answers. The 4D, that was real important. That just, when he spoke about that reminded me of what's going on with ADOS on social media, on and off social media. Even when you talk about the demonization, I kind of had to roll back because it kind of got frustrating on social media when you get into arguments with failed rappers and you start to troll, and you kind of deviate from your message. Yeah. So, so I had to get a little disciplined with that. But as far as like they dismiss you, then they demonize you. That's so true as it relates to ADOS. But listen, that good work. When y'all have your conference next year, I'm definitely there.
Oh, you gonna be there? You gonna be there? You gonna hang with us?
I'm coming.
All right,
listen, I'm coming. I want to meet Otis. So that's what.
Otis was there. He was there.
Yeah. So, y'all guys keep up the good work.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much, fam. I appreciate it. And let me just say this. I appreciate I appreciate Byron Allen shouting out ADOS too. He shouted out ADOS in the Breakfast Club interview, so I appreciate that. That means a lot. So let me go to the next call. I'm going to go to 330. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, what's happening, Yvette? How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
This is Carnell from Phoenix by way of Akron. How you doing this evening?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Not too bad for an old man trying to make it. But peep this.
Okay.
I want to holler at you about that little Breakfast Club interview. And Byron was peeping. He was dropping some real nuggets. So I just hope that people got a chance to really listen to it, and maybe listen to it again, and then maybe listen to it again on top of that, because he was dropping nugget after nugget after nugget that you could take in and cash in at your local bank. But one of the things that I want people to really, really get from that interview, he said, and I quote, "I'd taken my knee pads off a long time ago. If I'm going out, I'm going out standing. Standing on my square." I just want people to get that and digest that and just let that simmer. This man is a boss. He's standing on his feet, and I ain't moving off my square for nobody. And if you want me to back out of this settlement, you're gonna treat me like a man. You're gonna write me a check, just like you do for everybody else.
Yep.
You're not going to tell me to back out and then we talk.
Yeah, and then I might have a conversation with you.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I said he gonna tell you to back out, and then maybe we'll have a conversation with you. Ain't nobody gonna back out. I've won twice, like in the ninth circuit. I'm not gonna back out just for a conversation. What I look like?
Hey, I'm a man, and you gonna treat me like I'm a man. And I just wanted to, thank you for the work you do, this, that, and the third. But I just want to take this second to let you know, last week I didn't listen to it live. I heard it, in the midst of doing things. You had your foot so far up in Roland Martin's backside last week, that man couldn't even pass gas. You dig what I'm saying?
He make me so upset.
Big up for that, because it was warranted. He asked for it. So you gave the man what he asked for. So I just want to give you big ups for that. You dig, and keep doing what you're doing, and thank y'all, and may the Most High keep blessing y'all.
Appreciate it. But we appreciate it. Thank you, fam. I appreciate that. But no, I just don't like people like you can't go balls to the wall of a DACA and then tell me all these. Hey, let me just say, I've said this on the show before, but arrogance is like a pet peeve of mine. Like, I tell you what they don't know. Like, I'm the only Negro that ever read a book. Like, no, like you're not. You can't go around talking about. I need everybody to pay money for my show or whatever, and then come back and say, well, I'm not really going to advocate for the stuff that's going to make you whole. Like, no, people. What kind of content? Don't nobody just want to see a show where just Negroes be talking. We can watch that in celebrity stuff. People want advocacy, and that's what we need and what we deserve. You're in the wrong space to just be trying to be the black CNN. No, we don't. We're not. We haven't been made whole. Like, you have to be in this space advocating. That's the case I've made for a lot of people when I've talked on this show. A lot of people I've criticized is just like, nah, you playing a game. This is not advocacy. It's either grifting, or it's I want an award, or it's something else, but it's not full-throated advocacy, and I have a problem with that. Anyway, let's go to the next call. Who is going to be the next call? I'm going to 904. 904. What is your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, this is Bree out of ADOS SoCal. I don't have much to say, but I just want to say that the Byron Allen interview was very powerful. But the whole time that I was watching, the frustrating part was I could tell that everyone there was listening to hear a specific answer, and they weren't really listening to anything that he had to say. It was like they were just seeking, like, okay, where'd you get the money? Where'd you get the money? And they just totally wasn't trying to understand anything that he was saying. And the saddest part is most of our celebrities, they want to be special so bad, so they can't even think about the collective. But one of the things that Byron said that was my favorite was when he said, "You were born blackballed, you just didn't get the email."
Oh yeah, that was hot.
So powerful. It was powerful. But anyways, I love the interview. I hope everybody goes and watch it. Thank you for taking my call. Bye.
No, thank you, fam. I appreciate it. That was a powerful moment. Like you gonna get blackballed. You've been blackballed. Black person. You've been blackballed. You were born. You come from slaves. What you think you is? What you think you doing? You think you regular? You think you don't? Your life doesn't have different challenges than everybody else. You think you can just go and say, well, I kind of agree with Byron here, but I disagree here? No. You think you can do that? You think that's who you are? No, you were born into a tribe. You need to stick with that tribe, not just like ask like these questions, playing biased and unbiased. Well, So I'm happy they interviewed him. I'm happy they talked to him. I have problems with how it went, and nobody agrees on everything. But he should have been there a long time ago. And y'all should talk about what should happen and has to happen because for a group. It's funny. What's the child's name? Leonard. He was talking a few days ago about, he was talking to the dude from NAACP. He was like, yeah, we're always in a firing squad. We fire at each other. We don't help each other. Well, now's your time, Charlotte, to kind of help each other. But you're not going to do that because I know that you're concerned for yourself. Your whole game is like, what can I do for Charlotte? I understand, Leonard, but let's not play games. I'm going to the next call. I'm going now to 505. 505. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, man? My name is Da Vinci. So excited to get in and chat with you.
Okay.
But for the Byron Allen situation, I just can't believe that they had the audacity to ask him, well, what is he doing to help? And he had to sit him down and tell him, like, hey, I could be on a yacht in the South of France right now. Like, I don't have to be here talking to you all, telling you, what's up. And then also with that, AWS, I think we really need to try and fund for Yvette and Antonio to get out there, for the HR 40 meeting on the 2nd. You know what I'm saying? And then also I do plan on being there for the conference.
Great.
Hopefully I'm looking forward to seeing Rich out there.
Okay. We look forward to seeing you out there.
All right, cool. Thank you so much. Bye.
Appreciate it, fam. Thank you, fam. I appreciate it. Yeah, we look forward to seeing everybody who was. Oh, it was a great time. I'm going to 206. 206, what's your name? Where you calling from? What is on your mind?
Hey, Mama Yvette, it's your man Mark Black from the Pacific Northwest. How are you?
Pretty good. What's going on?
Hey, another day down, I just wanted to call in and talk with you a little bit about the topic for tonight. I've been watching a lot of Byron's interviews, and the man is spot on. I mean, to anybody who, at this point, hasn't done enough legwork to know exactly where Byron Allen stands when it comes to his tribe, I can't help you. You did from the neck up, right? There's always going to be those people that are questionable, but I think that the brothers clearly established his bona fides as somebody who not only cares for the tribe, cares for our people, but is looking for furthering our long-term interests. There's no rule, no law anywhere that says that he has to put up his personal resources to fight this battle, and yet that's exactly what he's doing. And it has nothing to do with him getting the bag. The man's more wealthy than many of us will ever see, right? So he could drop back or fall back today, and he still live comfortable for the rest of his life, right? The only thing that drives the man is the fight to benefit his people. And anybody who can't see that, if that's still something that is of question, or what, like I said, you're blind in a way I can't help. You know what I mean? But I wanted to talk about the whole grift situation because, as you know, right, since we came on the scene publicly, because people forget, right, that ADOS is not new. We've been between you and Tone, since at least 2015 that I can remember, we've been building the foundations for this stuff.
Yeah.
We've been doing Politics 101 and Politics 102, right? We've been learning to ask the key questions. Who's you? Who benefits? So on and so forth, right? We've been putting in this work long before ADOS, the hashtag, ever even came to the fore.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So when we sit here and we watch these people that were essentially no names, nobodies, right, try to insert themselves in the conversation. I can speak for myself as a heavy proponent for our tribe, that to me it's just laughable. Not to say that they aren't somebody that we need to address, right? We've had our rounds with Ian Colbert. We've had our rounds with all these other different organizations and all, right? But what it is to say is that perhaps if we're not careful, we will give them more than what they are, right? In other words, we have an opportunity here to push home this advocacy while at the same time completely eliminating the grifter class, right? These people that, are blanket, want to do for every black person, people, or these ones that are in it to get the bag. We have the means to eliminate them. Now, a sister called earlier from 360, right? That's my neck of the woods, as you well know, right?
Okay. Yep.
And she asked, what do we do, right? Well, first thing, I think that you were spot on in that get with other ADOS in your area. Like this weekend, I'm going to the local movie theater with a sign that says, "Not my Harriet," and information on why the movie's problematic, and to talk to ADOS people if I see them about our lineage, right? I always tell people on my broadcast, Yvette, be the savior we've been waiting for, right? If we all been looking for that leader, we all been looking for that person that's going to uplift us. Well, you know who that person is? It's the one you see when you look in the mirror. You're the one that we've been waiting for.
Absolutely. I believe that.
We can't depend on you and Tone to be like, Dr. Manhattan and be able to teleport to every event and be a part of every interview and stuff like that. No, we need to get over our reticence and our fear of displeasing people. And what are these white folks going to think if I come out? No, you go out and you advocate. We was born for this. We was built for this.
Built for it, fam. You better tell them. Built for it.
We was built for this.
I believe that.
Everybody, we hear all these platitudes from people, but we've been given with this tool, this lens. Because one problem I have, Yvette, and this is just us, we family, so I'm going to talk to you like we family, right? One problem I have, sis, is that too many of us see this as a movement. I am not a part of an ADOS movement. I am ADOS. It's different
forever
when you identify with it personally, when you see the relevancy of what claiming the name means to you, right? If you understand that, there's a whole lot of questions that we end up asking that don't need to be asked. Saying too many of us are still thinking that this is the latest, greatest thing or the next iteration. And no, what this is the one weapon that we have not been able to claim, the one weapon we haven't been able to put hands on, sister, and that is that we are no longer the lost sheep of America. I have a nationality. I have a history. I have a name. And my name is ADOS. And no one can take that away from me. You can kill me, but you can't kill who I was born to.
Can't do it. Can't do it. And that's why this is so important, fam. Because it makes it like, you have all these other movements that it was this person. So when the person fell off or something happened. No, and I tell people all the time, like, if you are attacking Yvette or Antonio, you've missed the whole point of what this is. This is who we are. This is a group. We're anchored in who we are. We're anchored in this lineage and what this lineage has a claim to. So if you're attacking us, you've missed it. So I don't have anything to fear from you because you've missed the whole point of what we're doing.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, Yvette, that right there separates the sheep from the goat, so to speak. You always know who's a part of the grifter class and who's a part of the people that don't know enough, who ain't qualified to talk on the topic, because you can always tell. They keep trying to interpret ADOS in the lens of some other thing that it's not. They don't understand that when we say that it's about blood and soil. We're not talking about no German Iron Cross neo-Nazi type stuff. We're talking about literal blood, the bones of our ancestors in this sacred soil, our home. That is what we're talking about.
Yep, and we're talking about we bled in every war, we fought, we were lynched. That's blood, right? And I didn't even say blood and soil. At first I said blood and bones. Our bones are buried here. But even if you talk about soil, you're talking about plantation. You're talking about, Joy Reid tried to make it into something that it wasn't. But you're talking about plantations. You're talking about that black dirt. You're talking about all of that stuff. You're talking about our contribution.
We're talking about the birth of a nation in the killing fields of the South and in the industrial areas in the North. That is what we're talking about.
Tell it now. Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? So, fam, I'm gonna fall back and let the next caller jump in, but I just want to say this. I don't care how you do ADOS. The only thing I ask is that until we get our justice claim, you do ADOS with me. Do this lineage, do this work with me. Cleave to me. Let me cleave to you. And let's get this stuff done.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate that. That was a word. That was inspiring right there, fam. I appreciate that. Yeah, we don't do it. We don't do it that way. We don't do it that way. This is a specific lineage. And that's what it is. And it don't matter. Like, it is what it is now. Like, ain't no leaving. Ain't no going nowhere. We all are what we are. Every other community is what we are. This is who we are. This is who we are. It doesn't go anywhere. So if you're like, well, Yvette ain't this or Tone ain't this, don't matter. You don't understand what it is. If you're trying to think that you're just going to hit me in the head and that's going to knock ADOS over. No, ADOS strong. Regardless. That's how it's set up. It's a lineage. It's a defined history. It's always been there. Nobody just defined it right. It's always been there. It's always been there. So I'm going to my next call. I am going to... Going to 267. I'm coming to you. 267. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette. This is Princess 6. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing, Princess?
I didn't think
I just call you that all the time.
You didn't get to me much earlier. I got some tea, Yvette. I got some tea. So, two things.
Okay.
Speaking on the ACLU.
Okay.
They post a lot of, or I've seen them post like articles about reparations to their website. And the funny thing is, the two times that I have seen it, I clicked on the link, and what do you know? Pops up.
What?
Pop up for them raising money for immigrant rights. I'm like, are y'all seriously putting up reparations articles and they're raising money for immigrants off these reparation articles?
Ain't that something?
Yeah. So that's what the ACLU got going on. So secondly, about 10 of us from ADOS Atlanta went to what we thought was a black reparations film at the Auburn Avenue Research Library today.
When was this at? When was this? Nobody told me nothing. When was this?
It was tonight. It was at 7.
Oh, I couldn't have went. I was getting ready for the show. I couldn't have went. Okay.
Yeah, so it was downtown. So we thought it was going to be about reparations and a nice talk. When we get in there, Yvette, and don't you know it was a 30-minute infomercial for Encoder. I was like, it was talk about bait and switch, Yvette. We was all in there like, are y'all serious? So the film was supposed to be, it's done by a young filmmaker. He's a graduate student, and it's Cobra's attempt at bringing in younger people and going across the racial gap and everything and bringing in more allies. Yvette, it was, I can't knock the brother, and I'm trying to temper my comments because I really don't want to be mean, but I don't know what young people they think they will recruit with this 30-minute film. So about 4 of us got up and asked our questions. I won't even say it was data anemic. It was like, what is it when the vampires come and is it insanguination? It's like no blood. Like it was no data, Yvette, none.
There's nothing here.
Oh my goodness, Yvette, it was just like we couldn't get out there fast enough. So, and there was a lot of other people who left early too. But I just want to stress to everybody who's ADOS allies who are listening that we are the only ones in these spaces that are truly fighting for ADOS. if you get into a room where you watch a 30-minute film and you're sitting among people who are in Cobra and they're trying to recruit you to join, and they have not mentioned one data point. The moderator said he thinks we talk too much about cash payments. He's basing it on, and also he's a provisional governor of the New Republic of Africa. So, like, his commitment to America, we had a brother. Yeah, I know. We had a brother from ADOS Atlanta, Kevin, get up there and tell him, like, look, brother, you seem kind of sketchy when you talk about citizenship, but ADOS, we're American citizens, and we claim that, you know. And so it was just, Yvette, I known, I was driving an hour in the rain to see a 30-minute infomercial for Cobra. I would stay home.
How far away? Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
I hope that was good tea.
Wait, is they gonna have something else? You gotta hit me up in the Twitter on my DM. Cause I want to go. I want to go. I gotta go. I hope they have something else. I really want to go.
I will let you know. But you have a good night. Thanks for taking my call.
No, thank you, fam. I appreciate it. I want to go so bad.
Okay, bye-bye.
I really, really do. Oh, gosh, fam, don't please hit me, especially if something's going on in Georgia, please hit my DM. Like, I couldn't have went tonight because I was getting ready for the show at 7, and it's raining here. You all don't know, it's crazy weather, but so I wouldn't have been able to go and get back. I'm gonna be careful. Don't worry about me. I'm gonna be careful. Don't be real careful. I really want to go. Hear you talk about how cash payments are awful. The same people talk about running and getting the bag. We're not talking about just cash payments. We're talking about closing the racial wealth gap. We're talking about wealth. You don't even know how to have a serious conversation about wealth. Y'all focus too much on money. That's how life works in America. If you don't have an inheritance, you can't pass that down to your kids. They can't have a house. They can't have an American life. You focus too much on stupid. Jeez. Anyway, I'm going to my next call. I am going to 412. 412. What's your name? Hold on. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, how you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Good. This is Bruce from Pittsburgh.
What's going on, Bruce?
Doing pretty good. Oh, first, let me say this first. The conference was off the chain. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I was able to make it, and it was a beautiful thing. And I'm looking forward to going again next year. So that was the first thing I need to say. But you're talking about the reparations grift, and I'm seeing, and I'm glad I heard the last caller because she was talking about Cobra. And I posted something to your webpage, and I put online a couple of flyers about a people's campaign for reparations and Black determination that they were having here in Pittsburgh yesterday. Okay. So when I seen reparations, I definitely wanted to go to it, and see what was going on with it. And the guy got to talking, and he started making and then he spent, we're a member in Cobra, and I was like, they're everywhere, but I'll stay open-minded because they are trying to push reparations within this city, Pittsburgh. But then when I got to listen to it, and it was sketchy and shaky and, disorganized, and it was what it was. But I'm just glad I went to it to, just stay open-minded. There are people out here, but they were talking about different issues that I from the teachings that I've got from you guys. I was like, nah, I don't think that's gonna work, But it is what it is, But and as far as the Byron Allen interview, that was a great interview. Like I said, somebody said he dropped some gems on us. And the one thing he did say, because you were saying that where are the other people with the billionaires or the millionaires? Why ain't they putting their money up to this helping him? And remember, he said they out on yachts. Yeah. Remember, he said, they're here. He said, this money out there. He said, they out on yachts in the Mediterranean. They didn't think about that. They got their bag and they gone. But but I'm grateful that Byron is out here fighting for us. People try to put him down, a little bit about his relationship, but that's neither here nor there. That man is out here fighting for Black folks. ADOS.
Because the question is always, what are you gonna do about your civil rights? You can say what you want, okay, but this is your civil rights. So what you gonna do? You gonna barbecue or you gonna mildew, like I always say? That's the main question. And if you stay on that question, the answer becomes very clear in terms of who you should advocate for and be in league with. Very, very clear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and, I like that he did go in on Obama, and I'm glad that he didn't toe that line.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, fam. I appreciate it. I appreciate you calling in. I appreciate it. Yeah, he didn't toe that line.
All right.
And they didn't know what to do with it. When he didn't toe that line, they just got quiet. What a bag. You got what? Who to plug? 240-240. I'm coming to you. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Well, what's up, Sister Yvette? This is Roz from the DMV.
What's going on,
Roz?
Roz?
Everybody?
What's up?
Look, lady, we are busy and we putting in that work in the ADOS DMV. I'm gonna let you know.
Okay.
Shout out to our sister Princess 6 in Atlanta.
Always.
Also in the Bay Area, we got Chris and we got Chicago, New York, New Jersey. Every time I look at Charlemagne, the Breakfast Club, is when someone like yourself has Byron tells us about Byron Allen, and I'll teach that. I'll definitely look at that. But I do remember Byron Allen on interviewing. He caught Obama out in the street when he was in office, and Obama was looking at him as if he was a panhandler asking for change.
I didn't know nothing about that.
He was like trying to get him on. It's on YouTube. Y'all look for it. And it's like he was talking to Byron Allen, and he said, well, what about, signing something for black people so we can get our money? And Obama didn't even look at the man in the eye. He's looking away from him like, yeah, go away somewhere. I don't have time for you. And to know that was one of his greatest donors is ridiculous. So I have no respect for Obama either. And it breaks my heart when I see us as ADOS always complimenting anything he does. Oh, that's my president. No, that's not my president.
And he know he's not your president. You're the only one confused. He understands.
I want everybody to know, too, we're doing some major work here. This Saturday, we have November 2nd, we have our first ADOS 101 class.
Oh, bravo, Roz!
And yes, we're having that, and we know that we need to educate our people. We're going to be at the Benning Road Library in D.C., and that's coming up on this Saturday at 10 a.m. till noon. So the general public, you're welcome to it. We've been working really, really hard to get our numbers in there, and also we're going to educate our people on what was going on as far as ADOS and reparations. We need to know as soon as possible for November 5th how many people are planning to come on November 13th for the Supreme Court case of Byron Allen, because we're going to be out there on right next to you can't stand on the steps because they lock us up. But we're going to be on the sidewalk, we're going to be in our area, and in order for us to get the permit, we need over 200 ADOS to let us know on ADOSDMVB1 at gmail.com if you're coming, how many people are coming. Because we need to get those permits, guys, in order to be out there.
So they need to email you. They need to email you there.
My call.
Okay. So email Roz and let her know if you planning on coming, what you're doing, what's going on, information. Email Roz. Say it one more time for me, Roz.
All right. It's ADOSDMVB1 at gmail.com, and let us know before November 5th if you are coming, because that way we can get our permit, and we need over 200 people. If we get 2,000 people, let's kick it on. We're going to own the spot, but we definitely want to know how many people we're going to have in that space so we can get our permit in order to be out there and support our brother Byron Allen.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate it. As always, Roz. I appreciate it, and get with Roz if you're coming, or if you're there, you're in the area, you can show up or whatever. Just hit her up at the email. Thank you, Roz, so much. I appreciate you as always. As always, people put in work. I don't know, these bots show them get busy. Bots just be busy. I'm going to 404. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, this is Mike from Georgia.
What's going on?
Hey, shout out to ADOS Atlanta, Princess 6,
Absolutely.
From the DMV. I'm definitely going to be there in D.C. September 13th, protesting So I will be sending an email to Rob letting him know that ADOS Atlanta is coming through. But Yvette, I wanted to, piggyback on the young brother that called in about accepting this ADOS as this is who you are. It doesn't. It causes you to want to go back and research and find out where you come from, where your bones actually buried at in this country. You go back to your hometown, you go to the local cemetery, you go through there and you see your people, and what you notice, you see all these ADOS men with military headstones. Fought in World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korean War. You see the headstones of your great-great-grandmothers who, were maids and the butlers and worked in the fields. So you realize that you are ADOS. You belong in this country. This is your country. So this is not something that's passing by. This is where you belong, and this is a call for all ADOS. It's time to come home.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you've been home. You ain't going nowhere else. Don't live in a fantasy world. Live in the real world. This is your home. You built this home. Stop building stuff and running from it because somebody threw a shoe at you or whatever happened. You can't do that no more. You can't. You never could have done that. We don't have a tradition of doing that. This is fairly new. But I'm gonna let you finish up, fam. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yes, we have a tradition of fighting. We have a tradition of protesting, of demanding. That is ADOS tradition in America. Now, I don't know what all other black people do in all other countries that they come from. But here, we fight, we stand. When we get knocked down, we stand up and we fight some more.
Thank you, fam. You got any last words? We're going to fight some more. We on the square now.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. That's a good call to end on, fam. Because the thing about it is you just got to stay on your square. It's not hard. Like some stuff is really simple. That doesn't mean like it's a simple thing. I should say it's not hard, right? Because it's a simple thing, but it can be hard, right? Because you got to get up. Like if somebody knocks you down, you got to get back up. Like if somebody knocks you off your square, you got to climb back up and say, well, I got to do it again. So it's not an easy thing, but it's a simple thing. You got to stay on your square. You can't run around and try on other people's squares. You can't sit down and say, I don't want to fight no more. Somebody done hit me in the chin. Like, you just got to figure out how to fight better. Like, that's all you have to do. You just perfect it as you go. But you don't get to just leave your square because that square was kind of rough. It's still your square. It's your tribe square. You're on your tribe square. You're fighting for what your tribe is. Oh, you don't get to run off of that square. That's not how any of this works. So, fam, listen. I want to thank everybody for calling in. Please hit that like button before you go. Stay on your square. Some interesting little calls. Stay on your square. And that Princess Six things. Doesn't Cobra have like this whole campaign going on to try to? I got to figure this whole thing out. We got to figure this out. There's a forum up on breakingbrown.com. I'm gonna put a bunch of sub forums under it. But we got to figure this out. What are they doing? We got to figure this whole thing out. And if anybody has any information, please DM me because we got to put this together. What are they doing? They going all around the country trying to figure stuff out. Anyway, hit the like button before you leave, please. Please, just that like button costs you no money, costs you nothing. If you want a shirt, something like that, go to adosmerch.com. Ran out of the blue extra large, so if you got a blue extra large, it's coming. I ran out. So please hit that like button. Please hit that bell. Smash that bell for me if you can. If you want to donate monthly, patreon.com/ycarnell. Absolutely free to go to subscribe to Brown, T.O. Brown, subscribe T.O. Brown.com and add your name to the mailing list if you have not done that, if you have not subscribed, if you have not hit the bell. All that stuff is perfectly free. Do that for me. I'd appreciate it. And fam, until next time, fam, be easy, breezy, finish your libations and get some rest. Because you can't be a good fighter if you're frustrated and tired and you irritable. You can't do that. So until next time, fam.